Let me just ask you something. When was the last time you made a real friend? I don't mean a connection or a follower, I mean a genuine friend. For most of us adults, the answer is, well, probably a really long time ago. We're told we live in the most connected time in history, but so many of us are facing this crisis of loneliness. And at the exact same time, we're drowning in a sea of content. So today, we're going to look at an app called Eugenio.me that's making a pretty bold attempt to fix both of those problems at once.
So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the social paradox we're all kind of living through. Then we'll dive into the app's big idea, which they call cultural DNA. After that, we'll look at how it actually builds trust, how it turns all that data into a real-world connection, and then we'll wrap up with the biggest question of all, what is this whole thing really optimizing for?
All right, so first up, the problem itself. This modern social paradox. This really sets the stage for why something like this even needs to exist.
You know that question we started with? It can be genuinely uncomfortable to think about, right? As an adult, trying to build a social circle from scratch, maybe after a move or just because life happens, it's what the source material calls a grueling protocol. You go through the same small talk, the same social dance, and honestly, a lot of us just give up. It's just easier to stay home.
And this whole situation creates this two-headed monster. On one side, you have adult friendships that often feel, well, superficial. You lose what the source calls the fascination dimension. You know, that deep shared history you have with your childhood friends who just get your references without any explanation. And on the other side, just finding something to watch tonight has become totally exhausting. The recommendation algorithms are hollow, and genre tags, they're a terrible substitute for what you actually like.
So, how do you even begin to solve for both loneliness and all that noise? Well, this brings us to the app's core philosophy. It's a really elegant solution to this whole paradox.
It all boils down to this one simple, but honestly pretty profound idea: you are what you love. The whole theory is that the stuff we choose to consume, the movies, the music, the books that truly connect with us, that's one of the purest signals of who we really are deep down.
And this is what the platform calls your cultural DNA. It's not just about liking sci-fi. It's about the very specific mix of media that has shaped your sense of humor, the way you see the world, your whole identity, really. So if you can find someone who shares a big chunk of that DNA, you get to skip all the small talk and start from a place of, oh, you get it.
And what's really cool is how this powerful idea can be used in 3 totally equal ways. For one, it's just a great way to stay in touch with the friends you already have over stuff you all love. It's also a tool for finding new people locally. Like, imagine finding a hiking buddy who also loves the same obscure films you do. And yeah, of course, it has huge potential for dating, but it's dating based on actual deep compatibility, not just a quick judgment on a picture.
So, the idea is fascinating, right? But any matching system is only as good as the data you feed it. So how does it actually work? This is where we get into how the app is engineered to capture a signal that you can actually trust.
Okay, now this part is pretty radical. The platform is absolutely committed to authenticity. Think about most apps. They let you upload your perfectly curated 5-year-old vacation photos. Well, Eugenio.me blocks gallery uploads completely. Your profile picture has to be a live selfie taken right there in the app. And that one simple, strict rule basically eliminates catfishing, fake profiles, and all the weirdness coming from generative AI. And the data it collects is also designed to be way clearer. Instead of that vague 5-star system where, let's be honest, everything just ends up being a 3 or a 4, it uses a forced 1-to-4 scale. The source calls this getting rid of the coward's fence, that neutral middle ground. You actually have to decide, was this a good experience or not? And that creates a much cleaner, more honest signal of your real taste.
And to make rating stuff feel less like homework, they have this feature called Swipe by Comparison. So it shows you something you haven't rated right next to something you have, and it just asks, did you like the new thing more or less? Turns out our brains are amazing at these kinds of relative judgments, and it turns the whole process of building your profile into a quick, almost game-like experience.
And this chart is a perfect illustration of how the algorithm thinks. Look, if you and someone else both love a massive blockbuster, what does that really tell you? Not much, it's just mainstream noise. But if you both deeply love some obscure niche film from the 90s, whoa, now that is an incredibly rare, super high-strength signal. The algorithm knows that these shared niche loves are a huge indicator of real compatibility.
And here's a crucial point, and we all know this is true in real life. It's not just about what you love. The system also figures you out based on what you don't like.
So, if you and another person consistently dismiss the same stuff, the app sees that shared dislike as its own powerful signal. Because let's face it, sometimes the strongest friendships are built on hating the same things.
But look, sharing the same taste in movies is just one part of the puzzle, right? The real question is, will you actually vibe with this person in the real world? This next section is all about how the app tries to predict that.
To figure this out, the app uses its own system called the Discover Engine. You take a short test, and it sorts you into one of 64 distinct behavioral profiles, or avatars. It's basically a snapshot of how you tend to operate in the world.
So instead of writing a bio, which, let's be honest, is usually just a bit of creative writing, you take this quick forced choice test. For example, it might make you choose between two equally positive statements, like the ones you see here. There's no right answer, and that design makes it incredibly hard to game the system or try to be someone you're not.
And here's another layer of trust that I think is fantastic. The system is actually honest about its own limitations. This polarization metric shows you how confident the test was in its results for you. So if your answers were a little all over the place, it doesn't just fake precision, it tells you. It's transparency by design.
So when you put all of this together, the cultural DNA, the trust features, the behavioral avatars, you have to ask, what's the ultimate goal here? And that brings us to our final and maybe most important section, the philosophy behind this whole thing.
Well, the goal is explicitly not to maximize your screen time or get you to swipe endlessly. The app actually uses a subscription model with hard caps on how many connections you can have. This forces you to be deliberate, to actually curate a small circle of quality matches instead of just mindlessly hoarding followers. The entire system is built for quality, not quantity.
And this all culminates in this final, really provocative question. Think about it. A lot of apps create a gate, like you can only message people who also match with you. But then they turn around and sell you a premium feature that lets you bypass that very gate. So, when the system that's supposed to protect users is itself for sale, what is that platform really optimizing for? Eugenomii is built on the complete opposite premise. Its incentives are actually aligned with your goal, finding genuine, lasting connection. And in today's digital world, that might just be the most radical feature of all.